After we've denubbed the fiber, the connectors are now ready for polishing. And in a production environment, typically speaking, we use a machine or an automated polishing machine for polishing more than 12 or more connectors at a time. One important or a couple of important things to consider when selecting a high volume production polisher is to select a machine that has a very high level of workmanship. And when I say workmanship, we're talking about the platen moving in an orbital motion to help create or maintain a spherical end face to that connector. To have some precise pressure control of the polishing plate that will make contact with that platen, in case you want to fine-tune and refine your processes based on a certain set of industry standards or geometries that you may need to meet. And the actual polishing fixture itself also needs to be of high precision and maintain a high level of perpendicularity with respect to the grinding surface. So that said, what we have here is a Mile 5200 polishing platform. I have an 18 position plate here actually, where I'm just finishing snapping in the final connectors to the plate. As you can see, it's very important to verify that all the connectors are protruding out from the bottom of the plate at the same level. This particular model of machine has a couple of different loading mechanisms, and that's what you see me doing here now is at the 45-degree angle. That's what I use to load these connectors into position, and then we have a cleaning position, which we'll get into in a second, and finally the polishing position. This particular machine is very nice since we do have that precision control. We can develop various styles of recipes, different parameters, and save them as different recipes in this PLC or the computerized version of this polish machine. But to get onto the polishing, we're going to first demonstrate how to load the lapping film onto the rubber pad. And selecting the rubber pad is also very important. You want to select a pad that's been ground and has a certain level of perpendicularity and precision to it, and something that's going to be have a uniform hardness across the whole width of it. So to start off, we want to make sure that all surfaces are clean, starting with the top of the polishing pad. You can clean it off with a lab wipe, Kim wipe in this case, with some high purity isopropyl alcohol. You want to clean both surfaces. Again, this will help maintain perpendicularity throughout its placement on the platen and as the film is placed on top. Placing the film on the pad, you want to be sure that the film is centered well. I start with the edge and kind of walk the film forward. And as you can see, the film is pretty well centered. You don't see any half moon or any color of the pad coming through. That means it's pretty well centered. Second most important part of this application is making sure that there aren't any air bubbles trapped between the film and the pad. And one method to make sure that you drive out the air bubbles from the center out is just with some alcohol. Some people use water, it doesn't really matter. Start with some small circles and work your way out, and that'll help ensure that there aren't any air bubbles trapped in there. Another method would be to use a roller, some type of 4-inch or 5-inch roller, enough to roll out the bubbles, but for the most part, this procedure works just fine. This pad and film are now ready to be placed on the polishing platen. Again, we want to make sure everything's centered here. The platen actually has a slot just big enough to fit this 5-inch pad. I've already loaded up the connectors. What we want to do next is lubricate the film with a DI water. we use DI water because we want to maintain a high level of cleanliness. We don't want to use tap water or something that might be bottled or have lots of minerals or contaminants in it. So we find that DI water does give us the best results. And actually start off, we don't need to oversaturate it. We can just create a fine mist on the film. And this is going to be pretty much the same application procedure, the amount of water and how to apply it for each step in the process. Most processes run anywhere from 3 to 5 steps for single fiber connectors. Right now we're just going to demonstrate how to lubricate the film and bring the connectors down to position, and we're basically just going to let this cycle run for a few seconds to simulate a polishing cycle. Most polishing cycles will last anywhere, depending on the film and the type and which step it is in the process, anywhere from 15 seconds to 60 seconds. You want to start out with a rough film and work your way down to a finer film. Very important to maintain a very high level of visual quality throughout your process in reducing cross-contamination. We need to be really diligent in how we clean the connectors in between passes. We want to use plenty of DI water. We can be fairly aggressive with your Chem wipes or your lab wipes. Use some alcohol to clean in between steps. Using circular motions, you can go right across the fibers and the ferrules. And of course, we also want to use clean air. When I say clean air, it's dried, oil-free air. Again, to make sure that we're removing any residues or cross-contamination. So, for single fiber cleaning, it's pretty straightforward. We have our wetting with the DI water alcohol rub and our dry air, clean air. When polishing for MT style connectors, it becomes a little bit more important to use a lot more water, a lot more air, and to actually use the air and the water together to try to clean out the guide pin holes that are used for the alignment of the MT connectors. So basically the same procedure, just spend a little bit more time, use a little bit more air, a little bit more water, and actually this plate is now ready for the next pass. And what we would do at this point is load the next film. If this would be the first or second pass of the process, we'd take this film off, or in a production environment we would already have another pad with a film, the next film loaded onto it, and we would essentially just place it on here, start the next process.